What is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new post-commentary duel video. We've got Speedroids, the speedy boys on the right, versus some pure mech boys. The column kings, the kings of the column. I don't know what you want to call them. Just mech boys versus speed boys. I'm piloting the Speedroid deck on the right, and by the way, if you want to see the deck profile for Speedroids, it was uploaded earlier today because I've decided today that I'm going to double upload and might do it again some other point down the road, maybe later this week or on the weekend, who knows. So you guys got plenty of videos to look forward to. So I get started by normal summoning the red-eyed dice so I can special summon the Take Tomborg from my hand while I control a wind, distribute that to special summon a Speedroid tuner from my deck, and I choose Den Daiko Duke. Now summoning the high Speedroid rubber band shooter, I'm going to use its effect to banish a synchro monster from my extra deck to reveal two Speedroid monsters from my deck whose levels equal that of the synchro monster I banished. I'm going to reveal the Yugioh and the Terrortop. I'm going to shuffle those up, and my opponent's going to randomly pick one of them for it to go to my hand. The other will get sent to the graveyard. Odd even, the classic dice roll pick. The Terrortop goes to my hand. Now I'll use High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter's second effect, basically a brilliant fusion, if you will, to get an extra normal summon immediately after that effect resolves. Now normal summoning the Terrortop, activating its effect on normal or special summon to search me any Speedroid monster from my deck to my hand. Now, what's nice about that is it gives me a bit of a follow-up for next turn. Ideally, it would have been a bit better to get the Yugioh to my hand, but still, regardless, it's nice to have Terrortop as a free normal summon for the search of the Speedroid Horse Stilts, which basically allows me to, on the normal summon of that, to special summon a Speedroid level 4 or lower from my hand. I'm going to activate Pot of Desires here to help replenish my hand a bit, get some more combo pieces, and I think I drew really well off of that. I think I ended up picking up 2 copies of Speedroid Recovery, which is basically Monster Reborn. It allowed me to special summon that red-eyed die out of my graveyard, and on normal or special summon that, I can target another Speedroid monster I control and increase its level anywhere from 1 to 6, or make its level anywhere from 1 to 6, except its own level. I'm going to make it level 6 to synchro into the Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Now, I've still got that Den Daiko Duke in my graveyard to summon out any tuner by banishing itself, but I opened 2 Speedroid Recovery, and that card is not a hard once per turn, because why would it be? So we're going to now revive that red-eyed die one more time to special summon Crystal Wing. Now summoning Tempest Dragon, Ruler of Storms. Boy, oh boy, has it been a long time since I've done that. Banishing 2 wins, and then banishing the Daiko Duke to summon out that red-eyed die one more time to synchro into another level 8, going for the Stardust Dragon. Because what's better than having a Crystal Wing, having a Stardust alongside of it, so I can protect from generic destruction effects and negate those. Which, as we know, Pure Mech does have a form of removal through destruction, and that is the Red Moon, but we'll see how much that comes up in this given matchup. He has to deal with the Crystal Wing. He has to deal with the fact that he basically can't deal with any effects, via destruction, or else he will, trigger the Stardust Dragon effect, which will go through and negate any effect that would activate that would destroy a card. And I basically banish the Stardust to the end of the turn, and it returns at the end of the turn if the effect was not negated. You guys know how Stardust works. So he's going to get his turn by setting a card. And, of course, he gets to go second as Mekk-Knight. It's a win-win with Mekk-Knight. I feel like if you go first, you set up a big board with a couple interruptions, with secrets and memory and whispers. You get to go second. You get free columns, essentially, if your opponent decides to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I definitely did. So, using this blue sky here, I'm going to special summon that, obviously, after he creates his own column by setting a card face down. Debating on what he wants to search. He has to deal with the monster negate provided from Crystal Wing, and he's got to be a bit careful on how he deals with outing some of the cards on my field, because I do have the Stardust Dragon ready to activate. Now, in hand, I believe I have a Horse Stilts, as well as maybe a Take Tomborg. I'm not entirely sure. But keep in mind, I've got 2 copies of Speedroid Recovery in my grave, which Speedroid Recovery being a not hard once per turn means you can use as many copies as you're able to see in that given turn. It also has an additional effect where you can banish it from your graveyard except the turn it was sent there to add back a Speedroid monster from your grave to your hand, so it helps recur resources. So he does add Indigo Eclipse off that blue sky, setting another card in that same column that my Crystal Wing is in to special summon the Indigo Eclipse. and now debating on what he wants to go into here. Obviously, a Morningstar play is something that could be done. He doesn't. I don't know if he has discard targets in hand for it, though, at the moment. That is a different story. Also, one other card to mention that is a bit of a former removal, in my opinion, for Mekk-Knights is Timeaton, the Iron Dragon. But that, of course, destroys. That is a fact that activate that would destroy cards. But I don't know if he's opened that card here or not. So, like I said, an Indigo, or not an Indigo, but a Morningstar play could be a play to make here, but he's still got to deal with this Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing has not used its effect yet, because I felt, though, there's not been a threat to use it. But he normal summons Draconet now, sort of mid-combo here. I'm thinking I could let it go through. I could let the Ib go through, and then on the Ib effect, negate that, let him invest a little more. But then it's going to get its effect when it's sent to the graveyard to summon out another monster, which, again, is free link fodder. And potentially a search as well if he summons out Lead the World Chalice Fairy, which I do not want him to be able to do. So I just stop the Draconet dead in its tracks. He uses Indigo Eclipse to slide it over to that far right zone. And, of course, by doing that, he has opened up another column to be able to summon a Mekk-Knight in. Now, he could summon the Purple Nightfall if he has it readily available to crash with the Stardust Dragon to sort of get that out of the way. But that, I feel, makes him go a bit minus. And with the Stardust being on board, like I said, Red Moon could be a very easy way to clear Crystal Wing, and the simple presence of the Stardust is sort of preventing that easy play from being made, so you kind of have to build your board in a bit of a different way. You kind of have to make plays that are a bit awkward, I guess, so Nightmare Unicorn is the one card that comes to mind, especially if he wants to get that Crystal Wing off the board, and I feel like that's the highest priority, is clearing the Crystal Wing and worrying about everything else later. So he's going to summon the Purple Nightfall. So he's opened up, looks like, probably Purple and Indigo, or no, Purple and Blue Sky, which is a pretty good opening when you're going second. He's going to add a copy of Red Moon. Now, unfortunately, there's no Mekk-Knight that, spins a card or shuffles a card back into the deck. But, Red Moon is still a pretty good removal card, but not when there's a Stardust on the field. So, summons Red Moon. And now, one thing to mention, he could have, let's say, gone into Morningstar by linking the Indigo and the Blue Skyway, discarding the Red Moon to add a copy of Secrets, and just sort of wall up that way. But at that point, there's still a Crystal Wing on the field, which can negate any monster effect he tries to activate next turn, i.e. the Indigo Eclipse. But if he were to, let's say, like right now, well, there's really no way that I can see this play being made. I mean, like I said, the only thing would be to have kept the Red Moon in hand, linked away the Blue Sky and Indigo for Morningstar, discarded the Red Moon for Secrets, set Secrets, and then during my turn, he would have to move over the Indigo to try to get in that same column that the Crystal Wing is in to provide that negate. So I can't negate his Indigo, but then I would probably just be forced to negate the Indigo right then and there, because if I don't, my Crystal Wing kind of turns off. So it's a bit of a weird situation. Maybe both players here overthinking the situation, which does tend to happen sometimes. That can happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's for sure. Is overthinking the game state, when in reality it's kind of best to play conservative, because I feel like a lot, and this happens with me as well. Sometimes I get sort of tunnel vision, trying to focus on, like, I need to win the game this turn. I want to win the game this turn. How can I OTK? How can I set up that unbreakable board, etc., etc., when sometimes that's not always the best option. You kind of got to think about that game in the long run and how that will play out. So he does go into Nightmare Unicorn, clears the Crystal Wing, and goes from there. So not a bad a move there, I would say. And he is also running over the Rubber Band Shooter, so that will force me to have to make that card again next turn. And the Stardust did not go off, but it did prevent some free destruction from his Red Moon, which is kind of nice. So passing back to me, I draw for turn, normal summon the Mecha Phantom Beast Tetherwolf, which on summon will allow me to special summon a token. Basically a 1-card Rubber Band Shooter, linking right away into that card once again. Now, attempting to activate Rubber Band Shooter here, the effect to banish a synchro from the extra deck. So I'll banish for cost, being out of Clear Wings to just freely sacrifice to the void, if you will, because like I said, and I've said on stream before that one copy of Clear Wing in extra deck just solely exists to be banished to the void. But Clear Wing Fast Dragon will be joining him. So I banish for cost, and he's going to summon out Red Moon in that same column that my rubber band shooter's in, so completely negating its effects there, its activated effects. So I will not be able to gain the Brilliant Fusion effect here as well. So I'm going to have to go into a bit of a different play here and go for the 1-for-1 play, discarding Horse Stilts and summoning out the Wind Witch Snowbell, I believe, the level 1 tuner, and then using both my speed recoveries in graveyard to banish themselves to be able to add Speedroid monsters back to my hand. So I add back Horse Stilts and Terror Top, normally the Horse Stilts to special summon the Terror Top, to activate Terror Top's effect, to add Tekatomborg to be able to ultimately special summon that itself. Now, one thing I don't understand is why he did not summon Indigo Eclipse here. I guess he potentially could have negated the Terror Top or the effect of the rubber band, or not the rubber band shooter, but negated the effect of the Horse Stilts, but he would have had to have slid all the way over for that, allowing me to use the other effect of the rubber band shooter. So I feel like ultimately at the end of the day, it doesn't make too big of a difference as I go into Kite Drake there to negate all face-up cards he controls. Now moving into game 2, the recording got started a little bit late, but he did normal summon the Ibly to link into Link Disciple. Then a bit of a misplay here happening. Neither of us caught it. I don't know how, but getting a second normal summon on accident of Lead the World Chalice Fairy. To be able to get and then use the effect of the Link Disciple here, which technically shouldn't be able to use, but I think at the end of the day it doesn't really matter because World Legacy Memory was in his opening hand. So the outcome of this play really isn't changed too much by the fact that he did get an additional normal summon, which he obviously shouldn't have been able to get. I just want to go ahead and mention that I don't think it changes how his turn plays out because he still has that copy of Memory in his hand. So he's going to play that and summon out the Purple Nightfall here. And one thing I want to mention real quick is a quick shout out to our sponsors over at Imperium Duelist, providing some amazing playmats, sleeves, dice, etc., etc. A lot of card gaming accessories and more. If you want to pick something up from them, like the mat we're using here or any of the sleeves, they're having a buy 2 or more and get 1 free sale. So I highly recommend checking them out. The new formula of sleeves down in the description below, a link to their website and a discount code you can use to save 10% off your entire order. So moving forward, the Purple Nightfall grabs Blue Sky. Blue Sky, I believe, grabs Red Moon. And now linking in to the Morning Star, which he would be able to make regardless because he did have the Memory. To be able to get him into purple, to be able to get him Blue Sky, which he's able to resolve here turn 1 because of the Ibly, the normal summon that actually mattered. The additional normal summon I know technically should not have been able to happen at all. 100% an illegal play, but you know, we're all human at the end of the day. We all make our own mistakes. These things have happened before, even at premier events, people getting 2 battle phases. These weird things that just kind of slip your mind, and then nobody ends up catching. So he's able to, you know, resolve the Morning Star, and he also has an Indigo in hand as well. But I have this Ibly on my field, which really sucks. But luckily, I get so lucky here and open the Passing Glider, because if I did not open Passing Glider, I would have to basically end my turn. So I have to normal summon that by tributing the Ibly, and then follow up here with not a 1-for-1, but summoning the Tekatomborg, special summon that, activate its effect, and tribute itself for cost to be able to summon out a Speedroid tuner from my deck. Now, I'm going to summon out the Den Daiko Duke, and right off the bat here, I've got a level 8 synchro play of Kite Drake, which I could summon to attempt to blow up all other cards on the field. And I know he has that secret sets, and he has Indigo in that extra monster zone where I would summon the Kite Drake into, so I know regardless it's going to be negated, so I'm kind of in quicksand at the moment. If I had only some way to bait it out, I mean, I could go into the rubber band shooter, attempt to use that banish for cost, and then 1-for-1 something, you know, out a Speedroid die, but I don't think I had any other monsters left in my hand. I could be wrong, though. I go for Kite Drake here, attempt to activate effect, and he's going to flip up that Secrets, and Secrets is going to special summon the Blue Sky in that center column, and of course, any activate effect that tries to activate in the same column as a Mekk-Knight is negated, so the effect of Kite Drake is negated. I go to attack over the Indigo Eclipse, and it looks like I still do have a monster in my hand, actually, so I go to attack over the Indigo Eclipse, and he moves it over, so he takes no battle damage, and his monsters are not destroyed by battle. I drop that Kite Drake down to a level 6 and go into a level 7 go into Clear Wing Fast Dragon, or regular Clear Wing, and then use Dendaiko Duke to go into Crystal Wing, following up that Kite Drake play. Now, gonna pass it over to him, the flipping of that token there in the center. He's gonna summon out Purple Nightfall back in that same zone that the Crystal Wing is in, basically turning it off as he goes into Borrelsword. And writing is, of course, on the wall at this point, summoning Red Moon, and I'm just gonna go ahead and scoop it up there because he's got double Timeaton in hand as well, which you could have technically summoned turn 1 to completely lock me out of the extra monster zone while also leaving an Ibly on my side of the field. But that passing glider, though, regardless, came in so very clutch there. Cannot deny that. So, gonna start my turn with Desires because I did not open up too well. I opened triple Dendaiko Duke, which is a really bad card to open, especially at 3. I mean, if it was at 2, it wouldn't be so bad, but opening a 3 of any card in your deck is not the greatest. I mean, Duke was a card I've thought about dropping down to 2, but it's just a card you don't mind seeing most of the time because it is a tuner target for Speed Lift. It's a card you're going to be using a lot in the grave, but then again, maybe I decide to drop that card to 2. I don't know. Maybe for a copy of Upstart Goblin or something to increase the consistency. But like I said, if you guys are interested in the Speedroid profile, it's already up on the channel. There should be an annotation for it in the top right, or something you can click at the end of the video in the last 20 seconds. Game 3, he gets started with the Draco Net play, and that's going to go through uninterrupted. Going for Ib now, the World Chalice Justiciar on summon to add a World Legacy card. Going to add World Legacy Secrets from deck to hand. And now giving himself a monster in the extra monster zone already. It's going to be able to set up a free column, you know, apart from the card I already gave him to work with. And I decided to set it face down. I set the Duke face down because, you know, I had a copy of the Glass Spell in my hand, I believe, or Ice Spell, the level 4 one that adds a Wind Witch card on normal or special. I was debating on starting my turn normal summoning that to deck thin for the Snowbell, but I just didn't want to leave it in attack position because that might leave me susceptible to Red Moon and just more OTK possibilities. I'm thinking if I set this card, maybe it can't fully push through for a game. At least that's what I was hoping. So summons the Blue Sky, gets a search, and links away the Ib and the Blue Sky for a copy of Morningstar. Not using the effect of Morningstar here, not using the effect of Ib, the World Chalice Justiciar here, to be able to special summon a World Legacy or World Chalice monster from deck. It's going to be Lee, the World Chalice Fairy, this time being summoned properly, I would suppose. And then being able to add a World Chalice card from deck to hand, adding the World Legacy World Chalice card from deck to hand. And now linking into a second copy of Morningstar, now using its effect here to be able to discard a Mekk-Knight or World Legacy card to add a World Legacy card from deck to hand. It's going to discard that Chalice, basically a free discard off the Ib, or off the Lee, the World Chalice Fairy, whichever you want to, you know, consider where that original is coming from, where that card is, that extra card originates from. I guess it comes from the Lee, but it's off the Ib. I don't know. Grabbing Whispers and setting Whispers, so now it has the ability to negate monster and spell effects, which in Speedroid we do have a lot of very good power spells, so the fact that he can turn those off is a bit disturbing in its own right. Special summoning the Indigo Eclipse, sliding that over to the other extra monster zone, summoning Red Moon now, and already as it stands has access to a Borrelsword, but will he even need it? Activating World Legacy Succession to special summon a monster from his grave to his own elite monster points to. It's going to be Mekk-Knight of the Blue Sky. Now, one thing to take note here is there are 3 cards in the same column, which means Timeaton is live, so he's going to special summon that in that far right column. Attack over the Duke and defense with 24, swing in with 2,000, 2,000, 23, and another 2,000 for definitely game, but my hand was not the most optimal, unfortunately falling to a brick there at the end. Really unfortunate. Opening triple Dendaiko Duke. What can you do? I mean, again, opening a 3 of in any deck, opening 3 of in any deck hurts, regardless of what deck you're playing. You never want to open 3 of the same card, but that is just Yu-Gi-Oh sometimes. Don't worry, we're going to be getting some more duel videos up in the coming week, more featuring of Speedroids. And again, if you guys want to check out the deck profile, check it out. It's going to be annotated at the top right or at the end of the video here in the last 20 seconds of this video. Yeah, check out the Imperium Duelist down in the description below. Join Discord, follow me on Twitch as well to see me test a deck like this live, like I've been playing the past weekend and having a lot of fun with. Speedroids, that is. And also, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.